Hello friends, this is Adam with Movie Guy 365, and today I'm going to review the 4K Blu-ray of the live-action Sonic the Hedgehog. If you're new to the channel, please hit the like button, subscribe, hit that bell notification. I put out videos every single day. You can also find me over Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd at Movie Guy 365, as well as over at the Disney Magic Hour podcast. I will put a link for that in the description. Okay, Sonic the Hedgehog is here on 4K. We're going to talk about the picture quality and the audio in just a few moments, but just give you my brief thoughts on the movie. Now, this is my first time watching it, and I expected it to be a little bit more on the kid-friendly side, but I think overall, it actually kind of surprised me. I feel that while it could be geared towards kids, and it is in a sense, I didn't feel like they dumbed it down completely. I think Jim Carrey looked like he was having a lot of fun as Dr. Robotnik, and James Marsden was a little goofy as his character, but I think I really kind of enjoyed it. I actually did. Like, I was a big gamer back in the day, and I did play Sonic a lot. But it was kind of like, it was just nice seeing the character in live action. The CGI elements are a little bit dodgy, especially the design of Sonic himself went through a whole lot of controversy, and they kind of made him a little bit more cartoony, so I think that was a contributing factor. But I still enjoyed the voice actor, Ben Schwartz, quite a bit, and I dug the movie. I did. I thought it was kind of fun, and I would be curious to see where they would go in like future movies. But at the same time, I don't feel like they really just made it a complete kids movie. It was entertaining, and I think at the end of the day, that's kind of what we want out of these movies. But I enjoyed it a bit, so that's really my thoughts on it. So now we're going to talk about the picture quality and the audio, but before we do that, let's do a quick unboxing of the slipcover. All right, we have the Sonic the Hedgehog slipcover edition here. Not a bad cover. It's actually kind of cool. And then we do have the back and the spine, and then interior wise, pretty much the same. No artwork to speak of. So yeah, not too bad. I like the cover a lot. So all right, now let's talk about the picture quality and the audio. Sonic the Hedgehog was finished with using a 4K digital intermediate, and so basically native 4K here with HDR and Dolby Vision. Now, normally I'm very confident in Paramount. I think that their overall picture quality when it comes to the 4K format is very strong, and I'm very very happy when I break down a Paramount disc. Now, that being said, I think Sonic the Hedgehog, at least utilizing Dolby Vision and HDR, I think it kind of missed the boat a bit. Let me explain why. I think, now for the purposes of this review, I'm really just going to refer to Dolby Vision, but HDR should apply here, pretty much the same. Now, as far as that goes, I think first off we have a native shot 4K, so that itself is pretty good. But with the CGI elements being what they are, Sonic himself being very soft looking, like a whole lot of detail going on there from all of his up close shots. He looked a little too cartoony, and I understand that the redesign and everything like that was done kind of, towards the end of production. But I think it really kind of ultimately, when he's up close, it kind of hurts a little bit. And utilizing the Dolby Vision, it didn't do Sonic any favors. Now, that being said, also the Dolby Vision, when it comes to like color and black levels and detail, I think they all kind of took a hit. Color in particular wasn't very popish. A lot of things that normally would pop in a Dolby Vision disc really don't. The color's a little bit more muted, a little bit more natural, and they don't have that that extra oomph behind the color palette. Now, I would say there's a couple exceptions. I would say Dr. Robotnik's drones and the lab that he inhabits all have various degrees of Dolby Vision color aspect, and I think they look good, but they're very few and far between. And also the lightning that Sonic's body produces also brought out the extra element of Dolby Vision, and I think those are the unique instances here, but the overall, just the minute by minute that goes by through the film, it doesn't make great use of the color, and it doesn't really give you a whole lot of pop. Black levels I think are okay. There's not a whole lot going on as far as nighttime scenes. There's a bit on the climax towards the end of the film, going back to Dr. Robotnik's lab when he does his little dance number. Those also have a nice little layer of black level, but for the once again, for the rest of the film, it's not really consistent. It can be a little bit elevated here and there, but it's you know, it is what it is. And as far as detail goes, once again, if you take away Sonic, Sonic is, I would say, the least detailed aspect here is the CGI, the character. It doesn't look great. It's not a good detail-oriented kind of character. You know, a couple of close shots are okay, but once again, I kind of expected more here, especially utilizing that Dolby Vision. But skin textures and you know, costuming and clothes, those things are okay, but once again, they're not as detailed as I've seen in previous HDR and Dolby Vision encodes. So overall picture quality is not going to be a reference here. The film itself is okay. It's kind of a little bit, it has kind of a filmic look to it. But I feel ultimately that the use of Dolby Vision and HDR is a little underwhelming. As far as the audio mix goes, Dolby Atmos, I think it fares a little bit better. I think it's a little punchier than our typical audio Atmos mixes over on, like, let's say Disney films. So it definitely has a little bit more oomph behind that. It's stronger, but I feel ultimately it wasn't as dynamic as I could have hoped for. The surround sounds, for instance, I would feel like they should have been utilized a little bit more. Now they do come into play. Several of the action scenes make good use of it, but the overall, like, ambience is just not really there. It doesn't have a lot of layers to it. The front channels and the center channels are great. Dialogue comes through clean, clear on the center. Your fronts sound good. The LFE is very punchy. It's very robust. It has its moments here and there. It doesn't overstay its welcome, but it's a good use of LFE when it is warranted through whatever particular scene is on screen. As far as the height speakers go, once again, action scenes for the most part are used here, and there's quite a few scenes, and most of those being, you know, with the drones and the climax, the final battle with Robotnik, make good use of it. But once again, the ambience is just not really there. It's present if you're really straining to hear for it, but it's not really going to be a prominent feature. But just be aware, it's a good Atmos mix. It's just not going to be great. So that is my review. I'm going to go ahead and give the scores. The picture quality, I'm just going to give that one a B. I think it's average. I think it's not going to be a reference quality picture here, utilizing Dolby Vision and that, but it's okay. It's just not going to wow you. I think I kind of expected more of this being kind of like a semi-animated crossover live action. But I expected a little bit more in that regard. Color pop and all that just are a little underwhelming. The Atmos mix, well, I'll give that one a B+. I think it's a little bit stronger than what we got on the picture side. It's just not going to be as filled with ambience. There's not a whole lot going on. It's not terribly dynamic. It's just kind of, it's strong in it, and it's a little bit robust, you know, when it comes to the LFE and the action scenes, but the general ambience is a little underwhelming in that regard. So that is my review of Sonic the Hedgehog on 4K. Let me know in the comments below if you plan to pick it up, and if you did, what were your thoughts? In the meantime, please like, subscribe, hit that bell notification. I put out videos every single day. So until next time, this is Adam with Movie Guy 365. I will see you at the movies.